Alpharad, Jacob Raven IV, licensed internet funny man. I've been an Alpharad fan for years now, casually engaging in his content, and I found he's had a very storied career and life, and I thought it could be fun to document that, and what better than an iceberg video to do that. So sit back while I explain the Alpharad Iceberg. Alpharad is a channel with almost 3 million subscribers started by Jacob Raven IV on January 14th of 2014. Originally focusing on Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U, in recent years he's broadened his horizons to variety gaming and IRL content, while still sticking close to his Smash Bros. Roots. It is also, if it wasn't obvious, my favourite channel on the platform, and I hope by the end of this is one of yours too. Alpharad Deluxe, formerly Alpharad Plus, is Jacob's second channel, which is now Alpharad Gold, I guess. It began as a sort of dumping ground for clips and extra content, but started to become the home of its own series around September of 2018, and became its own beast as a Let's Play channel hosted by Jacob and Joe Sniffy, along with later Ultrive, in August of 2021. Undergoing many changes over its active years, it's always a fun time whenever they remember what the upload button is. Alpharad Replay is Jacob's VOD channel. Not much more can be said about this one, it's just a place to watch full streams a few days after they take place. Like most VOD channels, it also makes great backing noise for sleep.
We're so fine.
Not Alpharad is a lie, but also Alpharad's clip channel, fitting in with the growing trend of YouTubers' separate channels for bite-sized content. This channel also started as a bonus content channel for random short videos, but changed to be video highlights around September of 2020. If you have a spare 30 seconds or 30 hours, check this one out. Ace of Hearts is a band Jacob started with Luke Wheeler, longtime friend and musical collaborator.
We have to go to the Science Museum.
Where?
The Science Museum.
Where?
The Science Museum.
The Science Museum.
Oh.
They debuted in April 2020 and have since released 2 EPs, Monophobia and Scorpion Queen, and an album, Frozen in Time, with more confirmed to be on the way. My personal favourite song is Deadbeat Boulevard, but I recommend checking out the whole discography if you can. It would be foolish for you not to. Friends Without Benefits is a Let's Play channel started on May 17th, 2016 by Ouija the God, Deezus, Major Duncan, Dad as Heck, and, of course, Alpharad. Jacob left the channel in 2018 amicably, and he still remains close friends with all the members, which is more than can be said for other famous Let's Play channel departures. Bubblegum KK is a video on Not Alpharad of Adriana Figueroa singing the titular song in a recording booth during the production of, presumably, Your Name by Ace of Hearts, which she features on. The video is also the most viewed video across all Alpharad channels, standing at over 20 million views. This 15-second video stands above the entire Best of Alpharad playlist, bringing heavily into question the taste of Jacob's audience. Can't lie though, it is pretty catchy. The Not series is one of Jacob's most famous series, in which he'd cover games which ripped off or bore striking similarity to bigger current games, including Overwatch, Among Us, and Honey Pop. The Holy Trinity. Although it has only seen one new entry in the past 2 years and is very much dormant, it is a beloved one for many fans. But look, I get it. You're tired of this entry. You're tired of everything being related to this entry. So let's move on. Forward Aerial is a long-running joke in the Alpharad community based on Mario's Fair from Smash 4. The joke originated in Beginner's Guide to Mario and has been run into the ground, under the ground, and into hell where it belongs ever since. Jacob has expressed fatigue with the joke in recent years, and I agree, after such a long-running bit, it's definitely time to move forward. Aerial. I had to. How to Play 101 was one of the first notable series on Alpharad's channel. As the name suggests, these were video guides on characters in Smash 4, with other games making an appearance later on, such as Minecraft, Splatoon, and his cat. These gave Jacob a big boost early in his career, and are an integral part of the channel's story. Now if only he could figure out how to play the rest of Super Mario Galaxy. A man can dream. Replay Hut was a series on the Alpharad channel during Smash 4 where his fans would submit clips to be featured of them doing impressive stunts. These were uncommentated and just featured clips with the names of the players, but it is nonetheless one of the best known and most well remembered series of Jacob's history, despite its relatively short lifespan. A Story for Glory, another of Jacob's earliest and best known series, featured commentary over matches of For Glory in Smash 4. Watching back, it's interesting to see the evolution of his delivery and commentating ability over time.
Oh, ow, thought I would do something except kill myself.
This stage is yellow! What the fuck is yellow?
Not to say it wasn't a good start. This series is definitely an icon as a part of the Alpharad history, but I must say, 7 years on, there's exponential improvement. Shine Get is a song by Aethernaut which used to be Alpharad's outro music until February of 2021, when it was changed to Persona 5's Swear to My Bones, and later an original track by Garrett Williamson. This is a really fun piece of music and I recommend you check it out and show the artist some love. And speaking of endings, that brings us to the end of this tier of the iceberg. Alpharad is Jacob's TikTok account that he started around October of 2021. He posted a few videos, including a Charlie Puth parody.
What if there was a song like Ba-dum Dum Dum?
And a Danny Phantom cosplay thirst trap of all things. Like a TikTok though, it didn't last long and has been dormant since the 30th October 2021, as of when I'm recording this. How Did We Get Here, the audio road trip with no breaks, is a podcast hosted by Jacob and his longtime friend and fellow Smash player, Coney, aka Zach Zeeks. The episodes consist of tangential conversations ranging anywhere from the united affairs of eugenics and Mickey Mouse to the paradoxical zenith of my stepbro's quantum superposition, always ending up with the titular question, how did we get here? After which they try to recap the topics which got them from the title to the current conversation. Give it a look if it sounds like your thing, but strap in. No breaks means no breaks. Deanna Gowland is a singer-songwriter and host of the YouTube channel Birdies, in which she discusses and reviews birds. In the context of this iceberg though, she's Jacob's close friend, former roommate, and producer, helping organise many of Alpharad's recent larger projects, such as the live shows and IRL shoots. Her content and music is absolutely worth a look on its own merit though. I personally recommend Make a Sound as a first listen for her music, but for now let's take flight from here to the next entry. Partycast was one of Jacob's first series to find its home on Alpharad Plus. The show had a simple premise, with Jacob, Blue7 and Joe inviting a guest on to play a 20-round game of Mario Party and answer some questions, with regular intervals delivered by Play on Sunday to keep audio listeners up to date. The series was short-lived, but featured some very cool guests including Tearzu, Nicholas Cantu, better known nowadays as Junkie Janker, and Sky Bennett, voice of Pyra and Mithra in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Frasier is one of Jacob's cats, a grey flat-faced cat which Jacob owned for many years. He's named after the sitcom of the same name, and features most notably in How to Play with Frasier 101, one of the series' final entries before its return for Smash Ultimate. He's a good boy, and according to Jacob, he loves a stray cat Jacob and his friends so much, they adopted her and named her Taylor. 10 out of 10? Best boy. World of Light One Punch Mark is an episode of Alpharad's World of Light series uploaded on December 19, 2018. It is also the most viewed video on Alpharad's channel, amassing over 13 million views, likely because of the thumbnail depicting one of the hardest spirits in the game, Dr. Wily, being seemingly killed with a single blow. While this was not the way it was defeated in the video, instead a close game with Jacob playing as Donkey Kong, it clearly served its purpose to rise enough to the #1 spot. Sonic Forces Plus Ultra is a long play of the entire campaign of Sonic Forces, hosted by Jacob, Joe, and guest and resident Sonic fan Keely Clove on the Alpharad Deluxe channel. This, similar to the previous entry, is the most viewed video on Alpharad Deluxe, clocking in at just under 2 million views as of scripting this. The video was likely inspired by a controversy around the time of its release where Ouija the God, a close friend of Jacob, completed the whole game in under 3 hours and was therefore able to get a refund on Steam for his purchase. This was not a longer, impactful controversy, however, and clearly inspired a very popular way to spend 2.5 hours. Hard DK, as the name suggests, is a Donkey Kong amiibo trained by Alpharad to become unreasonably strong. He made his debut in Hard DK amiibo and has since gone on to defeat even top players with his raw $15 power. Hard DK is also a recurring CPU opponent in Jacob's Mario Party videos, but I feel the name much more belongs to the toy that toppled Titans. Bow before him, or you're next. The Denim Dino was a nickname Jacob carried when playing Fall Guys on his main channel. This came from the combination of the T-Rex head and jeans his Fall Guy wore to many a crown, and even a victory in Alpharad's Fall Guys tournament, along with Coney, Deezus, and Play on Sunday, or Minecraft Matthew as he went by at the time. Ellie Drum, known on Twitch as Egg, is a friend of Jacob's and former co-host of Alpharad Plus. She first appeared in Chili's Diner Girl, and was much beloved by fans. Her most notable series she featured in was the Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz playthrough, but she was present for many. Her brother Josh, also known as Shythed, also featured in Alpharad Plus series such as the Melee Netplay videos, as well as being mentioned in conversation many times, often as just Ellie's brother. Tyler, or Maloney as he is more commonly known, is a pro Smash Bros player and former co-host and editor of Alpharad Plus, appearing in a few videos on mic, but mostly as a white Comic Sans with a red glow. When he was first introduced, it was a common theory in the Alpharad Plus fanbase that he wasn't real and was in fact just a bit created by Jacob and Joe, until his eventual reveal. Though, to this day, there are still persistent Tyler deniers. Nova One Duke is an artist Jacob has worked with for many years, primarily creating many of the pieces of art for thumbnails and channel branding, a few examples of which you can see on screen now. Nova has also made a few on-mic appearances in Jacob's content, most notably in his Artist vs YouTuber Drawing Challenge videos. He consistently puts out great work and captures Jacob's creative vision very well. Clickbait was a series on the Alpharad channel between October 2016 and December 2017, in which he would take comment prompts and create, as the name suggests, clickbaity exaggerated thumbnails based off of them. A recurring character in the series was Kate Upton, who provided an easy source of an old classic of clickbait: boobs in the thumbnail. There were also guest appearances from Ouija the God, Esam, Lythero, and Omni. I always really enjoyed these videos when they came out, and look back on the series very fondly. No, not because of that. Get your mind out of the gutter. CPU CS, or the CPU Championship Series, was a long-running series in which Jacob and his friends would cast a tournament bracket of level 9 CPU fighters in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The series would quickly rise in popularity and develop its own characters, lore, and eventually even its own subreddit, r/CPUCS. Characters included Vincent, Naomi, Toy Convict, Skillshare Kirby, and even Major Duncan himself, just to name a few. This again was always a series I looked forward to, and one I know many Alpharad fans look back on fondly. It is also the reason many can never look at Art Academy or Nintendo Labo the same way again. The semicolon became a symbol of Alpharad Plus fandom around late 2019, not because of its existing symbolism, but rather due to its misuse in the title of Minecraft The Way Home, a level Jacob and Joe created a long-running joke around in their Super Mario Maker 2 Endless Easy series. Though the joke was retired around the rebrand to Alpharad Deluxe, like a semicolon allows a sentence to continue, so did the channel even after it was all over. Dating Start is a song from Undertale played during, as the name suggests, the dating portion of the plot. Alpharad fans, however, will know this as Jacob's ad read music, as it plays in almost every ad read unless there are legal restrictions or the read is done live.
Hast thou heard of Raid Shadow Legends?
It has got to the point where in videos such as Elite Smash Sans, the song is used out of this context and threw many commenters off. I think it's a great song for the purpose he uses it, and if he ever changes to a different one, it'd end up really dating all the other ads. No? Okay, fine. Let's move. In recent years, Jacob has been hosting live in-person events with ticketed audiences and guesting creators, such as CJR, Family Jewels, Adriana Figueroa, and of course many, many more. This has come with a shift in Jacob's content away from purely gaming and are always a good time. Be it unrehearsed renditions of Shakespeare plays, dramatic readings of copypastas, or a cup pong tournament bracket, these are always a great time and I can't wait for more in the future. As of writing this, his latest, Mr. and Ms. Multiverse, a pageant hosted in collaboration with Amaranth, was recently cancelled, so guess that's the end of this entry. Moving on. I Played Blank So You Don't Have To is a newer series on Alpharad's channel in which Jacob plays infamous video games in full to save others from the pain of doing so. So far, these games have been Balan Wonderworld, Jump Force, and the ever-infamous Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. Being infamously bad, these games provided Jacob and his friends plenty to riff off of. He's also done a movie version, I Watched Space Jam 2 So You Don't Have To, meaning the series' future may not be limited to just games. The latest entry as of writing, Splatoon 3, deviated from the formula of the game being bad, instead just serving as a catchy title for a supercut playthrough. There have been talks for more in the future, such as Sonic and the Dark Brotherhood, and I really do hope we see more, because as a fan of gaming channels, there's nothing I love more than not playing a game. Normie Girl was the name of Jacob's avatar in his Pokemon Sword playthrough, a blinding white protagonist named in honour of the many memes going around about Gloria, the Sword and Shield female protagonist, around the time of the game's release. She would not be forgotten in this series though, as she would later become one of the 3 plushes released on Jacob's merch store, along with Jacob himself and CPUCS's Vincent, fulfilling your deepest punting needs for a very reasonable price. Steam Cleaning was a series in which Jacob would go through his bloated Steam library and try a selection of games each episode. Games featured included The Binding of Isaac, Demon Girls, and even the much beloved Celeste, along with plenty others. The series made its return in May 2020, which was, as of writing this, its final episode. These were always a fun way to see Jacob explore a new variety of experiences, but as he moves away from pure gaming content, it makes sense that this would probably no longer fit. Besides, if you still need steamy content, you can always watch the Honey Pop speedrunner video. Absol is Jacob's favourite Pokemon, notably because it has a monochrome colour palette according to the man himself. This has led to occasional furry accusations, but these have all been discredited by Jacob as he just finds them irritating, as Absol isn't even anthropomorphic. Other favourite Pokemon include Esper, who happens to be my favourite, and Vaporeon, who as we all know, in terms of male and female breeding, is the J-Raven Productions is a channel created by a much younger Jacob where he would basically just mess around with his friends and do simple sketches. Interestingly, a much younger Major Duncan can be seen in a few of these, among Jacob's other childhood friends, really highlighting just how long their friendship has existed. While it offers little more today than your average 12-year-old's first attempt at content, it serves as an interesting piece of history and demonstrates just how far Jacob has come. Never give up, kid. Maybe one day you too will be able to speedrun Disneyland, give yourself double carpal tunnel, and have friends tweet Vaporeon smut from your phone. Dream big. Genre Gambling was the former handle of what is now the Ace of Hearts Twitter account, and was simply Jacob's alt Twitter, where he would post creative updates to a smaller audience. Nowadays, however, this handle belongs to a private Twitter, seemingly owned by Jacob, following and followed by only 2 accounts, and pointing anyone who finds it to instead go to @Ace of Hearts instead. The meaning of the name is unknown. I personally believe it refers to Jacob wishing to try more styles of content, which he eventually did. However, this is a private account, so I digress. Let's move on. TSK, or the Shadow Kings, was a fake Smash clan started by Jacob and some of his friends in which they would pretend to be edgy kids and try to start beef with bigger Smash players. The scheme was fully outlined in a video Jacob himself made disclosing it all. They got away with it all undetected quite impressively. Long live Chaotix, your edgy teen spirit lives on in us all. Dr. Bustdown was the name of a Hitmon top Jacob obtained during his Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire randomizer he did with Jaden Animations for Thankmas. He became an unofficial mascot of the team and was heavily favoured by Jacob throughout the stream.
I am going to cry on stream if Dr. Bustdown gets given away.
However, disaster struck when he was randomly selected for release around the 3.5-hour mark. Though gone, his protege King Buster the Slow King arrived later in the stream to avenge the Doctor's memory, before dying himself, that is. Call the Vileplume was used in Jacob's Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu playthrough and, like Dr. Bustdown, served as an unofficial mascot for the team, even defeating Red and the Vileplume Master Trainer, solidifying himself as the strongest Vileplume in the land, leaving his fellow Vilepile members, Blimey and Slimy, thoroughly in the dust, striking fear into the hearts of trainers throughout Kanto. Barbu is the name of a Hoppip that Jacob, or rather Jacob's chat, obtained during his Twitch Plays Pokemon Crystal streams. The catch was initially mostly pointless, but a cult-like following gathered around this little pink Pokemon much like Bird Jesus before it. In any appearance Hoppip or its evolutions have made since, Barbu is always the name assigned. Manic2969 was a dummy Discord account Jacob created for the video Getting Every Character into Elite Smash. It was created in the hopes that people would message it after playing Jacob and this could be used for side content in the video. Much to Jacob's disappointment though, nobody did. The Bald Podcast is a recurring joke on Alpharad Deluxe started by Altrive. The joke usually comes to light, understandably, when a character with no hair is on screen. It is also part of a further running joke that Alpharad Deluxe episodes follow a flowchart, with similar recurring topics such as their mutual friend Josh and his penchant for complaining. Though Jacob has expressed fatigue with the Bald Podcast joke over its run, he is still known to engage it on occasion. PleaseBuyMyMerch.com is the URL of Alpharad's merch store. This site hosts all official Alpharad merch releases, like clothes, plushies, and various accessories. Ace of Hearts merch and physical music can be bought from here too, under its own section. In case it wasn't abundantly clear, this is a website I spend a little too much money on. DumbStupidShirts.com was the URL of the former Alpharad Plus merch store. This hosted several designs based off the running jokes on the channel at the time, and was, according to Jacob and Joe, priced at the minimum amount possible for the service it was hosted on, as not to overcharge for joke clothing. Again, it has since been taken down, which makes sense following the rebrand to Deluxe, but for a time it was the central hub for all things t-shirt with the word Plussy on them. Opening the DMs was a series Jacob did a few years ago with Major Duncan in which they did just that, open their DMs for fans to message in and make their best attempts at comedy. They had a separate Twitter for this, @OpeningTheDMs, but it has been inactive since about 2019. Side note, I, being a comedy genius, sent this to the account and was shockingly not featured. They probably just forgot to put the clip in. I get it, it's fine, honestly. It's fine, it's okay. In 2019, SmashCon was paid a visit by a mysterious man in a Spider-Man costume. He wandered the floor taking pictures with attendants until it was time for the Smashies. When Wizrobe was awarded the Best Pop-Off, this enigmatic Spider-Man stormed on stage in protest, grabbing the mic and finally revealing his identity as none other than Alpharad, proclaiming that he and Joe Sniffy's pop-off following a loss after a double NES Infinite was far more deserving of the title. However, rules are rules, and though not taking the award, he certainly stole the show with the big reveal, and fit the part great. No Way Home 2, anyone? Throughout the Smash Bros. 4 DLC and Smash Bros. Ultimate rollout, Jacob often found himself striking very lucky with both his predictions and hopes for characters to appear. Characters Jacob hoped for, which at the time he believed were unrealistic, included Pyra and Mithra, Joker, and the ever-infamous Bayonetta. Beyond wishes though, when making predictions, Jacob successfully predicted characters from Ridley to Sora to even Minecraft Steve, leading to this now incredibly well-aged thumbnail. Throughout all these wins though, he still never saw Lyn promoted from an assist trophy. Maybe next game, Jacob. Maybe next game. Alex the Nine is a mastermind, an artist among men, the undisputed king of children who make Super Mario Maker 2 levels. Alex is the creator of the aforementioned Minecraft The Way Home, but has many other masterpieces to his name, many of which would be played on Alpharad Plus. A now deleted tweet suggests a collaboration between Alex and Alpharad Plus may have been planned, but never came to fruition, so Alex continues to live on in godlike mystery. Never stop building those trains, Alex. Lil Nas X is the tag used by Jacob throughout the series of getting every character into Elite Smash, which took place on Alpharad Deluxe. The name likely owes its origin to the infamy Ness lives in on that channel, but Lil Nas X ties are mostly unexplained. I've been trying to think of a call me by your name joke for a while now, like Jacob wanted to call himself by Lil Nas X's name sort of thing. I give up. You get it. Let's continue. Wrong Way Joe was a comment that would begin to appear on many of Alpharad's Mario Maker 2 levels while Alpharad Deluxe were playing through them, with Joe holding the controller. These would, as it suggests, be placed along incorrect paths to guide Joe through Jacob's many labyrinths. The stranger thing though, is during their Endless Easy series, they would begin seeing Wrong Way Joe comments on random levels they came across, really showing the reach they had and the commitment of the fanbase. Lately Mario Maker 2 is a much less frequent feature on the channel, but if it ever returns, you know the fans will be there to show the way. Banana Soul is a joke from Alpharad Plus originated by Ellie. The joke came about during their Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz playthrough, in which a drunken Ellie reacts to the boss of the level dying and having bananas leave his body by saying, "He's got a banana soul." In a later episode, she would even detail the process of obtaining a banana soul. The spelling of soul in this title is not a typo, and it comes from combining soul with Ellie's nickname, L-E. Now that's bananas. No, that's bananas. Alpharad has made some music videos for Ace of Hearts, starting with the Silver Lining lyric video, where he wrote out the whole song in sticky notes and placed them on screen in time with the song. Much more notably, the entire Frozen in Time album had an accompanying music video short film, following Jacob's character Ace's journey through love, change, and emotion. I hope with future music endeavours we see more of these come, as they're always a great way to add further expression to the music. Ernie Gang was a collective Alpharad formed back in 2017 on VRChat. It was exactly what it sounds like, a group of people using avatars of Ernie from Sesame Street, after Jacob and his friends were looking around for good new avatars and stumbled upon that friendly orange face. They would go around to various servers chanting the name Ernie Gang, Ernie Gang, Ernie Gang, Ernie Gang, in an attempt to convert others to the ways. They certainly had their enemies, such as Firefox 1033932. God, what a name. The owner of a VRChat bar Ernie Gang raided, but remained unstoppable. The EG logo even received its own shirt in December 2017, but this is currently not officially available. Megalovania, aside from being the boss music for the Sans fight from Undertale, was a word Jacob would often tweet while drunk. In my favourite Alpharad video, the NES Amiibo drinking game, he attempts to do so too, but misspells it as Megalavonia, signifying just how effective the titular drinking game was. However, he has gone on record as saying that the habit stopped due to the fans growing expectant of the tweet, ruining some of the fun of the joke. Side note on the topic of Sans, while streaming his reaction to Pokemon Challenge's reactions of his Nuzlocke, people noticed a Sans bookmark on Jacob's browser and asked him to click it. He did so, revealing it was a simulator for the final Sans fight, and proceeded to beat it for the first time live on stream. Far from a bad time, I'll say. Once upon a time, Alpharad ordered 2 tubs of mac and cheese. Not a great story, huh? Well, it gets worse. It would soon become clear that due to a bug with Grubhub, the order kept getting resubmitted, meaning Jacob would continue to receive multiple tubs of mac and cheese, and yes, get charged for each glitched order. Eventually, he was able to get through to customer support and get this fixed, and the extra food ended up in good hands being donated to the homeless around LA, so it all worked out in the end. And hey, he even got a hit tweet out of the situation, so nobody really lost. Icarus, not to be confused with the kid counterpart, is a character from Greek mythology who, to summarise, made wings out of wax and feathers and flew too close to the sun, and they melted, acting as an allegory on arrogance and overconfidence. How this relates to Alpharad is his repeated reference to an Icarus complex he has, mostly through the Alpharad Deluxe Elite Smash series. This came about as he often goes for unnecessarily risky plays which can cost him an otherwise comfortable victory. He even got called out on this by Trolley Problem the Game of all sources, so maybe there's some spiritual tie there. Or maybe, just maybe, Alpharad was Pit all along? Alpharad can't read, you heard it here first folks! Someone call game theory! Dash's antiperspirant joke refers to the following clip of Altrive on an episode of Mario Party Superstars on Alpharad Deluxe.
Nope, I got antiperspirant. You're coping. I don't sweat.
Since this clip's debut, it has become a running joke in Alpharad Deluxe's comment section to note that any video's highlight, regardless of the game, was Dash's antiperspirant joke. I can see why, it's definitely a good joke, and not too annoying and widespread as some of the channel's past bits. Let me know what your favourite part of this iceberg has been so far in the comments, by the way. For the sake of the narrative, I really hope it's this entry. Sasuke Doesn't Say Swears was a joke that came about back in the Alpharad Plus days, originally coming from a video titled Sasuke Doesn't Say However, as the joke continued and eventually became its own piece of merch, the limitations of Sasuke's vocabulary was changed to be less risque. I'm sure he doesn't say either, but selling a shirt with slurs written on it can't be too easy. Unfortunately, the shirt was eventually taken down for copyright violation and has since been lost to time. Ace refers to Jacob's Spotify profile, not to be confused with the Ace of Hearts page. This profile consists of a few playlists of music Jacob likes, and you can also see the artists he follows, including, of course, Ace of Hearts. Self-love, I respect it. He notably has a playlist called Tour Setlist 2 Missing, as of writing this, which alludes to a plan Jacob has mentioned occasionally of touring his music, and seemingly he plans to wait until new ones are released, or debut them live. I know if he ever does tour and comes across the Atlantic, I am stacking up tickets first chance I get. While on this note, the title can also refer to the fact that Jacob has repeatedly, mostly on How Did We Get Here, referred to himself as being on the asexual, aromantic, grey ace spectrum, but I'll leave that there as not to delve too deep personally. LGBTQ rights, by the way. Love is love. Gunya Fighter is a game Jacob and Joe stumbled upon in the video of them setting up their PS5. It's a tough one to describe, really. It has Roblox-like graphics, you run around collecting coins, and it's the pinnacle of entertainment on the PlayStation 5. There have been multiple documented interactions between Alpharad and Gunya Fighter since, namely on Twitter, but no further content has been made on the game. After all, you can't recapture that magic. If you're one of the 4 people who own a PS5, I'd give it a shot, either to have your life changed or to remind yourself that anyone truly can make a video game. In the music video for Ninja Sex Party's Dinosaur Laser Fight Level Up, try saying those words to your grandma, Jacob is seen as an extra in several scenes. Jacob has worked with Game Grumps several times recently, with the Cup Punk tournament being supported by Real Good Touring, and having Aaron as a featured creator, along with Aaron being invited to several of Jacob's gaming tournaments recently. This is a smaller one, but I'll be honest, as a kid who loved NSP music at 12 and who loves Alpharad content at 20, I just thought it was neat. Queen of Everything, track 7 of Ace of Hearts' Frozen in Time, was actually uploaded in its original form all the way back in 2015, 6 years before the album's release, on a channel simply called Jacob Rabin IV. Obviously, it's in a much less produced state, and Jacob's singing voice is less developed, but it is nonetheless the same song.
The queen of everything is sitting on your throne.
Fans have been aware of this upload before Frozen in Time, so it was nice to see it revitalised and officially released as a great part of a great album. Just shows that no matter how old a piece of work, never give up if the passion is there. Plussyfan9 was, as the name implies, a notable figure in the Alpharad Plus fandom, sporting a green Donkey Kong profile picture and a love for all things Alpharad Plus. However, around the same time of the channel's rebrand, PF9 would change the name to Stutterbox and try and distance themselves from the old persona, and has since deactivated their Twitter account altogether. I wish them well in whatever they do. Another bonus fact, the rise of Plussy fan accounts inspired me to make my own, named Plussy Slayer with a blue Banjo-Kazooie profile picture which I have lost access to, and I cannot find for the life of me, but if I do, here's a screenshot. I have no shame, I'm writing a 1,000-word long script about a funny internet man right now, are you fucking surprised? Plussy square root of Christ is the name of a Mr. Game & Watch amiibo trained by Alpharad. Sporting the teal colour, he appears in several Alpharad Plus videos against the hosts or against viewers in Smash arenas. Like all of Jacob's amiibo, it is a strong opponent. Watch out for his final smash or the tentacles will do things to you that will get this video demonetized, 2D or not. Alpharad's birth name is John, but publicly he always goes by Jacob, his middle name. That's all really. Good old John Alpharad. I have really nothing more to add. Let's keep going. August 11th, 2020 was the fateful day that Alpharad Deluxe co-host Joe Sniffy tragically died. Or so a random prophecy foretold. However, he was able to survive this day and actually continues to be alive to this day. At least I hope. Man, this would have to suck to rewrite. However, on this date, his hypothetical death was honoured with a day without an upload, before returning to form the day after with a fitting follow-up, All Might dies. Rest in peace, Mr. Sniffy. You are still very much alive, I think. Alpharad Makes an Album is an album made by Alpharad. But not that one, this one. Uploaded to YouTube, SoundCloud and Bandcamp in May 2015. It is a collection of instrumental tracks varying in style and mood, and like Queen of Everything's original version, shows a long-running drive within Jacob to make music. This might just be me, but I see vague similarities between the track Crossing in E-flat major and the debut Ace of Hearts single Fool for You. Maybe that's just me though. Check it out and see if it sounds like your thing. Edgelito is the supposed name of Twitter account Supreme Writer PhD, the subject of the video essay writing accounts on Twitter. In the video, Jacob and his friend Todapoki find and attempt to mess with one of the accounts, which reply to tweets asking for help with essays. When asked for his name after some back and forth, Edgelito is the name provided, which, as Jacob shows in this video, is seemingly still fake despite his Gmail display name also being Edgelito? Edgelito eventually grows tired of the games, however, and ends up blocking Jacob. A sad end to a very fun little game. Heroin in the Sex Cave, aside from being my weekend plans, refers to a story Jacob recounted in the How Did We Get Here episode, The Alluring Divertisement of Scholastic Book Fairs. While at an arts camp, Jacob befriended some of the other people attending who would regularly smoke around him what he believed to be weed. The place they often went to smoke at this camp was a cave just off a nearby trail nicknamed the Sex Cave. Lord only knows why. Toward the end of his stay, he decided to finally join in and have some good old-fashioned peer pressure. After taking a hit, the others there reveal it was not weed that he had smoked, but heroin. This was actually Jacob's first experience with drugs, and relievingly, his last time with heroin. Despite the obvious risk and shock of it, it makes for a hell of a story. Scorpion Queen, the title of both a song and EP by Ace of Hearts, was originally going to be the title of the band's debut album, as can be seen in early tweets from the Ace of Hearts Twitter. The early tweets also depict several currently unreleased songs, but we will revisit that in a later entry. At the start of 2022, Alpharad Deluxe did a phase of imitating the old style of YouTube Let's Plays, playing games such as Happy Wheels, Goat Simulator and Slender, and making sure to cut the videos at barely over 10 minutes. To further the joke, after a few uploads, Ultrav would dramatically leave the channel and be replaced with Josh. This was done in a video parodying Ode to John, the video uploaded by Game Grumps announcing JonTron's departure and replacement with Dan. Being friends with Aaron, it's an interesting move to parody such a contentious moment in the Game Grumps history, but I'm sure there was little malice meant or offence taken. Just a little goof, no harm done. Spanx McDoodle is Jacob's very obscure and long disused Reddit account. He used it to engage with the community on r/AlpharadTV on occasion, calling for replay hut entries, replying to comments, and the like. This isn't his only one, also having actually-Alpharad, which has been used more recently but still not in over 2 years. Unlike his Pokemon Legends Arceus Nuzlocke avatar, Jacob does not appear to be much of a Reddit boy. Brand was a temporary change to Jacob's Twitter account for Pride Month of 2021, which saw him change his whole profile's appearance to parody the rainbow capitalism approach many companies assume during June. The bio read, "Do you love Brand? Well, for this month, we love you, regardless of sexual orientation. Please buy our product and live an awesomely gay life." The change was, of course, not permanent, but it was a good bit of mocking towards commonly panned practice in corporate social media. The topic is also brought up in the podcast episode, The Annual Iridescence of Rainbow Capitalism. Go check it out. Re-listen to it. Become like me. Have all of this stuff memorized. Know it all. You can know it all. Succumb! Turtlenecked refers to one of the highlights of Alpharad Plus's run, which took part during their playthrough of Doki Doki Literature Club. During the episode Sayori's Turtleneck, they discuss turtleneck sweaters after Yuri is seen wearing one, and they begin to discuss r/turtleneck, which they check the top post of and find mostly pictures of Steve Jobs. At the end of this video, they come upon the infamous scene of Sayori's... to which Ellie exclaims, "She got turtlenecked!" ending the video on them all erupting in laughter, many viewers included. This moment even inspired the subreddit r/turtleneck to become almost a secondary r/Alpharad Plus. Needless to say, a moment for the history books. Fire Emblem Heroes is a gacha mobile game released in 2017 by Nintendo. Like most of its genre, it has plenty of microtransactions that allow players to unlock skins and characters easier. And as you may have guessed, Jacob is a big fan of the Fire Emblem series, to the degree where he has admitted on multiple occasions that he spent approximately $8,000 on this game, and was still far from completing it, as was his goal. Putting all the money from the Odyssey Supercut autoplaying to good use, I see. The Waffle House story from How Did We Get Here episode The Perennial Inhibition of Dr. Seuss recounts as Jacob, Rickles, and their friend Vicky attempt to eat some Waffle House after MomoCon in Atlanta, which sounds like it should be a simple task, but you wait. Stay with me here. Jacob orders Waffle House for the three of them, goes to collect it, but isn't allowed in by the employees, who make several gestures for him to leave. Jacob returns and tells his friends, and Rick goes back to try, then returns with the same story. So now the three of them go back and try to get the employees' attention a third time, to which one of the employees even makes a hand-to-neck cut-it-out motion. Several other people come and attempt to collect their food, but leave defeated. Eventually, one person shows up and goes to the back, is let in, and then leaves again shortly afterwards. At some point up to now, Jacob has called the police under grounds of theft, as they have paid for the food but have received none. Jacob, Rick, and Vicky go around to the back and confront the employees, but to no avail. They go back to the front of the building and the police arrive. The officer enters this breakfast space Fort Knox, and after discussion with the employees, sits down as one of them begins preparing food for him, specifically Jacob's order. Eventually, fully defeated, the three go to a nearby Waffle House, and are able to eat. Head back to the hotel, passing the original location on the way. When they reach the first Waffle House, though, they find it completely open for business. Packed out, and none other than Phil Iivisu dining right there. Closing the book on this Twilight Zone-esque journey. Moral of this story, as a fan who found Jacob during this story said, can't have shit in Atlanta, bro. Pivot Warrior 2 is where it all began. As stated in the video The Many Stages of Alpharad, this was Jacob's first channel where he would upload stick figure fight animations. It shared a name with his original Roblox account too. Naturally, as this was his first channel, it has become inactive since May 2013. However, it serves as a great inspiration for those who started YouTube young to keep pursuing, and eventually it might work out. Can't wait for Goku vs. Broly Remake Part 2, Jacob. Jason Earthheart is the name of a persona Jacob came up with in the episode of Alpharad Plus's Pokemon Shield playthrough, Country Western Pokemon. He reportedly has 3 dogs named God, Bless, and America. In a freestyle song Jacob came up with though, it appears that God is dead. But America is alive. Science Museum is by all definitions a song made by what would eventually become Ace of Hearts, but at the time was just Alpharad and Luke Wheeler. The song details Jacob's desire to go to, you guessed it, a science museum, as well as his plans for the eventual visit. I must say, when compared to the likes of Deadbeat Boulevard, it's hard to see why it didn't get the Queen of Everything treatment and make the album. I can no longer visit a museum without thinking about this masterpiece. At the beginning of the podcast, How Did We Get Here advertised their Twitter handle as HDWGHcast. However, upon checking this, the account had been mysteriously suspended. They noticed and apparently rectified this, but soon after it would have become suspended again, and a common theory for why involves none other than Jacksepticeye. Not too long after the podcast was released, Jacksepticeye revealed his documentary and, of course, its title. That title? How Did We Get Here? Therefore, it is theorized that possibly some agreement prevented accounts using a similar name to be created, possibly out of fear of impersonation. However, I reiterate that this is speculation, and as of writing this, the podcast still has no official Twitter account. Thank You is the title of the second, lesser-known one of Alpharad's early music releases, not appearing to have been posted on YouTube. Like Alpharad Makes an Album, this is another collection of instrumental tracks. It is available on Bandcamp and SoundCloud if you'd like to take a look. Super Fireball Cheesy Crumbs was the name of Jacob's childhood Toontown avatar, who was a mouse. Jacob has gone on record as a Toontown fan to this day, still having an active character in Toontown rewritten, and apparently a pet crocodile named Good Old Gary. I've never played Toontown myself, but as a Moshi Monsters fiend in my childhood, I may have to take a look following his endorsement. In the entries for Alpharad Makes an Album and Thank You, I mentioned that they are available on SoundCloud. If you go to Jacob's SoundCloud, Alpharad-1, though, you will find several singles along with the 2 albums. There are several works, most notably Squidstuff.mp3 and Kunai with Chain, but there are many more that I'd never heard of, and it's certainly an interesting piece of Alpharad's history, seeing he's always had a musical side to his content creation. Neon Heights is the former name of what is now Ace of Hearts. The name was never used in an official release, but seen in teaser images throughout the early formation of the project. It's a cool name, reminding me of the image being used in his end screen, however I much prefer the one they went with. In the same old screenshots depicting the name Neon Heights, you can also see several possibly unused or renamed songs in the tracklist, such as Final Call, Out of My Head, and Voices. Whether these are scrapped, being saved for later projects, or just released under another name, it does make you wonder what a full-length album with the sound of the Scorpion Queen EP would have featured and sounded like. An extra note, we can see another unused name for the album was Celebrity, which may tie to the intended theme, but who's to say? Several old tweets from Ace of Hearts feature early demos of songs which we would eventually see released, such as Lights Off, Lighter Than Air, and Scorpion Queen.
If I feel your touch, 'cause don't act like there's something I wouldn't do if...
Naturally, these are in a much rougher state than their eventual release, but seeing them in early development is a very cool insight in the creative process and evolution of Ace of Hearts, a year before its debut single. Here it is, folks. The moment you've been waiting for. The final entry of this wild ride. Its name? Microwoo. This! It's this name right here is the obscurest knowledge there is, and this is its story. When I asked in Twitch chat if Jacob was okay with this idea, Twitch user this name asked to be on it, and Jacob read out his message and agreed, so here it is.
Making an Alpharad Iceberg video, am I against that? No, just don't go into my personal life. I saw username Mike Woo-Ave said put me in the iceberg. I agree.
Twitch.tv/microwave. They stream nothing. Go check them out! And there you have nearly a year of my life. Thank you for watching if you've made it this far. It really does mean the world. And on to new things, I suppose. I have plenty in store planned for you if you stick around, and I really hope you do, because I think you'll enjoy it a lot. Thank you to every one of my friends who's helped me through this process. As I said, it's been nearly a year of work, and thank you to, of course, Alpharad and all of his alumni for inspiring me, not only to make this video, but to create at all. If any of you are watching this, hi! I won't keep you too long. Here's another video, here's my channel, here's me saying goodbye and thank you again. Take care.